This video will tell you very quickly the general requirements for formatting a works cited page according to the requirements of the MLA Handbook 9th edition, otherwise known as MLA style. Any college paper that uses information from any other source, which is generally the case for papers written in college, will require that you document your sources using very specific guidelines. For papers written in English courses, this is known as the works cited page, and it'll be prepared according to the guidelines created by the Modern Language Association, or MLA. In most every other college class, it's known as the references page, and it'll follow the requirements of the American Psychological Association, or APA. But the requirements for both are very similar. In most cases, formatting requirements are irritatingly specific, but you just have to learn them once. Then they should be the same for just about any class you take which uses that style. This is what a works cited page looks like for a paper that uses just one source. This video will focus on creating a works cited page for a paper that uses just one newspaper or magazine article, which is the case for the first paper students write in my own college composition courses. This is a good way to get used to preparing an MLA-style works cited page, and I always require students to turn this in as a separate assignment before the paper is due. Keep in mind, however, that a works cited page or references page should always be included as part of the final draft of an essay, even if you've previously submitted it as a separate assignment. There's a good chance that you've heard of this thing called EasyBib and probably several other tools like it. Trust me, if this thing worked, I'd be their biggest fan. But after teaching college composition for about 2 decades now, I found that these web tools do exactly one thing reliably well, and that is to spit out the wrong citation almost every time. So suffice it to say, I'm not a fan, since it's my job to make sure that the students learn how to do this correctly, and I'm the one who has to take points off of papers and deal with angry people as a result. And the thing is, it's actually really easy to do this right, and I can cover it in just a few minutes. What I'll give you is a simple formula, sort of like a math formula, for citing a newspaper or magazine article in MLA style. I cover formulas for citing additional types of sources in separate videos. For students enrolled in my classes, you'll be directed to those videos later in the course. It is strongly recommended that you use Microsoft Word Online to complete any paper that requires MLA-style formatting. Other word processing software such as Google Docs and Apple Pages don't include all the capabilities you'll need to format an academic paper correctly. The online version of Microsoft Word is recommended because it's the most updated version of the software. If you're a TSC student, you have free access to Microsoft Word Online, and we'll start by looking at how to access it. To access Microsoft Word Online, start from the TSC homepage. The way that's set up is at TSC is a little unusual, but it works just fine. You'll access Microsoft Word Online through your TSC email account. Start by clicking on Resources in the upper left corner of the TSC homepage. And click on Email and Calendar. Next, you'll be prompted to log in using your TSC username and password, the same one you use to access Canvas, Workday, and other TSC software. Enter your username and then click Next. Enter your password and click Sign In. TSC email inbox, look for an icon that looks like stacked boxes in the upper left corner and then click on it. You'll see a list of Microsoft software that you have access to as a student. One of those is Microsoft Word. Click on Word. On the next screen, choose Document. What I like about Microsoft Word Online is that it saves your work automatically, so you never have to worry about losing your work. The next time you log in, you'll see your documents in a list. The first thing I recommend doing is giving your document a name so it's easy to find later. You can do that by clicking on the word document at the top of the screen, then type a name for your document in the box provided. And choosing something that's easy to identify, like SA1 Works Cited Page or something like that. Next, you set the font type and size. MLA style guidelines allow for different fonts to be used, but there's one that's very commonly used across college classes and programs, and the MLA style guide does recommend using it. If you're a student enrolled in one of my classes, I do require this font to be used for every paper you write. The font is Times New Roman, and you can select it by clicking on the drop-down menu you see here on your screen, and then on the alphabetical list until you see the font. Then click on the font name. You should select the font size. Here again, MLA allows a few different font sizes. Point font is the most common, and that's what I require. Click on the drop-down menu you see here, and then select 12. You also need to adjust 2 settings related to line spacing. To do that, click on the icon that looks like 3 horizontal dots. On line spacing, and line spacing options. In a pop-up window, here you want to click on the drop-down menu next to the phrase line spacing. Double. Click on the drop-down menu next to the word Special. Hanging. This sets up what's known as a hanging indent, which you'll see later in the video. Select OK. The words Works Cited centered at the top of the page. Microsoft Word can center text on the page automatically for you. To do that, click on this icon. the icon that shows text in the center of the page. The words Works Cited. After that, press Enter to go to the next line and reverse the process to align text on the left side of the screen here. For your citation, you'll follow this formula, which provides the required components of a citation for a newspaper or magazine article. All you need to do is look for the information at the top of any article and plug it into this formula. Screenshot of the top of an article that I located in a library database. Got a copy of a perfectly formatted citation for that article. The formula starts with the author's last name, here, added here. You have to put all the commas and periods that you see in the formula in exactly the right place, so from the formula here. Then put the author's first name. His name is Mark, placed here, followed by the period. The article's title set in quotation marks and followed by a period. Is in the citation. Publication title set in italics and followed by a comma. Is found here. It is in the citation. Comes the publication year, month, and day followed by a period. It is found here. It is plugged into the citation, and make sure that you do follow that exact format. All that, you've got a perfectly formatted Works Cited page, but I still have one last thing to show you, and that's how to get your Works Cited page out of Microsoft Word Online and into Canvas to turn it in. To do that, clicking on File and Save As, and download a copy. None of these other download options will work for downloading a file that can be then submitted to Canvas, at least not the way that I've set up my Canvas course. After you click on Download a Copy, you'll see up window. Click on Download. What you see at this point will depend on how your computer is set up, so you might need to get help if the next few steps don't make sense. I'm using the Google Chrome web browser on a computer running Windows 10, so this is what I see after I click on Download. Regardless of how your computer is set up, you'll want to save the file in your Downloads folder. I can do that here. Then what I like to do is to drag the file to the Downloads folder, which I've shown here, desktop. This makes the file easier to find when submitting it to Canvas, and there's the file on my desktop. Now we'll see the process for submitting this file through the designated assignment link in Canvas. The Canvas course homepage shown here, you'll scroll down to the assignment link shown here, then click on the assignment link. This page. Click on the blue Start Assignment button in the upper right corner. Here, it's pretty much like uploading a photo or file to any website. Click on Choose File. The file on your computer. This is why I like to put the file on the desktop. I click on Desktop, File, which has that nice specific name that I gave it earlier. Takes me back to this screen, and you might want to check to be sure that the file name is displayed correctly. Click Submit Assignment. You see the word Submitted in the upper right corner of the page. If you don't, that means you haven't successfully submitted the assignment, and it is your responsibility to make sure assignments are submitted successfully in college classes. TSC students should reach out to the IT help desk if they're having issues with Canvas. And that concludes this video on creating the Works Cited page in MLA style.